Have you ever noticed that some people seem to always be moving forward in life, even when they make mistakes, while others tend to stay stuck in the exact same position for years? The strange thing is, it's usually not about intelligence. It's not about talent. And it's definitely not about opportunities. Most of the time, the difference between success and failure is one simple thing: the ability to make consistent decisions. There's something dangerous about indecision that almost nobody wants to talk about. Indecision doesn't just slow you down, it's the great momentum killer. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in your life. In today's video, I'm going to break down why indecision quietly destroys progress, why your brain actually tricks you into staying stuck, and how learning to make faster decisions can completely change the trajectory of your life. Along the way, I'm going to share a few short stories that really describe how indecision quietly ruins opportunities most people never even realize they have. But first, let's talk about something important: the momentum principle. Momentum is one of the most underrated forces in personal growth. Think about pushing a car. At first, it seems almost impossible. You're pushing as hard as you can and the car barely budges. But once it starts rolling, something interesting happens. It becomes a lot easier to keep moving that car. Life works in the same way. When you start taking actions consistently, opportunities begin to appear before you. Your confidence starts to increase. People start taking you more seriously, and your progress begins to compound on itself. But indecision does something destructive to all of that. It stops the car before it even has a chance to move. You spend days, weeks even, sometimes years thinking about what you should do instead of actually doing it. And here's the honest truth. Momentum doesn't come from making perfect decisions. Momentum comes from making decisions quickly and adjusting those decisions as you move on. Most people are terrified of making the wrong choice, which leads to our first story. A few years ago, two friends decided they wanted to start a small business. Just a simple coffee shop. Let's call the friends Alex and Jordan. Both had the same idea. Both had similar amounts of money saved. Both had similar experience in the business field. But they handled the next few months very differently. Alex started researching locations immediately. Within a month, he'd found a small but decent spot. Was it the perfect location? No, but it was good enough. So we signed the lease and opened the shop. Meanwhile, Jordan wanted to make the perfect decision. He spent months analyzing every decision: foot traffic, market data, pricing models, competitor analysis, even branding ideas. Fast forward 6 months later, Alex's coffee shop was already up and running. It wasn't perfect. He'd made mistakes along the way. He changed prices several times, even adjusted the menu. But behind the scenes, something powerful was beginning to happen. His shop had momentum. Customers were beginning to come in. Reviews were growing. People were discovering the shop. But Jordan was still busy researching the perfect location. Here's an example of what indecision does. The more you think about a decision, the more variables you're going to discover about that choice. The more variables you discover about that choice, the harder the decision becomes to make. Eventually, you're going to begin to feel overwhelmed, and overwhelmed people freeze in the decision-making process. By the time Jordan finally picked the perfect location, another coffee shop had already opened there. The opportunity was gone. Not because he lacked intelligence, not because he lacked resources or charisma, but because he waited too long to make a decision. While Alex's shop was beginning to thrive and grow, Jordan was still in the planning stages and had missed the boat. Let me ask you a quick question, some food for thought. Think about something in your life recently that you've been thinking about starting, maybe for the past month or maybe even for the past year. Maybe it's starting a YouTube channel of your own. Maybe it's starting that next business, or a fitness journey, or even just learning a new skill. I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you planning or are you just stalling? Because those two things can feel almost identical in the moment, but they can lead to a very different outcome in your life. The fact of the matter is our brains love indecision. Here's the truth. Your brain really likes indecision. not because it's helpful, but because it's safe. Making a decision exposes you to something. It exposes you to failure, to judgment from others, to the responsibility and the burden of that decision. But when you stay undecided, when you stop yourself from moving forward, you live in a psychological comfort zone where anything is still possible. Your brain will tell you, if I haven't started yet, then I haven't failed. If I haven't chosen, I still have options. But this is a trap because time doesn't stall for your decisions. While you're hesitating, markets change, opportunities come and go, people move forward around you. And slowly, without you even noticing, you start falling behind. Not because you've made bad decisions, but because you've made none at all, which leads into our second story, the job offer. A man named Chris was offered 2 job opportunities. Both were solid career choices. Nothing flashy, but both had real potential for growth. Job A, a stable position at a well-known company, a good salary, predictable growth. Job B, a startup company, lower starting salary, but huge upside if the company succeeded. Chris wanted to make the perfect choice, so he started researching the opportunities. He talked to mentors, he analyzed industry trends, he even compared benefit package. Weeks passed, then months. Eventually, Job A needed an answer. They couldn't wait on him forever, so they gave the job to someone else who was ready to move forward. Chris told himself, "That's okay, I'll just take Job B." But while he was still deciding, Job B had already filled that role. In the end, he lost both opportunities. And the painful part, either decision would have served to move his life in a positive direction. Either decision would have moved his life forward. But his indecision moved him nowhere. And this happens to people every single day. At the end of the day, most people aren't better decision makers than you yourself. They're just making decisions faster than you. They move, they learn, they adjust their strategy, and they keep going. They keep putting one foot in front of the other, and they keep making decisions. Momentum creates a chain reaction in your life. When you make a decision, when you take action, you're gaining experience. As you gain experience, you build confidence. Confidence will lead you to make bigger decisions, and bigger decisions will create bigger opportunities for your life. But none of this will happen for you if the first decision never gets made. Here's another secret that successful people tend to understand. You rarely see the full path before you start. Clarity comes from momentum, not from overthinking. Imagine trying to steer a parked car. You can turn the wheel all you want, but the car's not going anywhere. Steering only works when the car is in motion. Life tends to work the same way. Direction becomes clear after momentum starts, not before. There's a very simple rule that many successful people tend to follow. That rule is called the 70% rule. It basically goes like this. If you have 70% of the information you need, that's enough information to make a decision. Why is that? Because waiting around for 100% certainty on any given choice usually means waiting forever, because you're never going to gather 100% of the information from the start. The people who win in life aren't the ones who wait until everything is just right. They're the ones who move before everyone else feels ready. They're the ones who pull the trigger when they have just enough to make that decision. They're the ones who keep moving forward and keep building momentum. At the end of the day, the biggest regrets that you'll carry in life aren't going to be the things you tried that didn't work. It's going to be the things you never started. The ideas you kept thinking about but never acted on. The opportunities you waited too long to take. The decisions you kept postponing because you were waiting for 100% of the information. Indecision can feel safe in the moment, but over time, it quietly strips your life of momentum and will cause you to miss out on all the great opportunities in front of you. So here's my challenge for you. Think about the one decision you've been delaying the longest. And this week, make that call, send that email, start that project, take that first step to building momentum in your life. Because the thing is your life doesn't change just because you find the perfect answer. It changes when you start building momentum and you decide to take action. Once your momentum starts, everything gets easier. Momentum doesn't come from making massive life-changing decisions. It comes from daily small decisions made consistently. Every time you choose action over hesitation, you're building confidence. Every time you stop overthinking, every time you begin to move forward, you're training yourself to trust your instincts. Over time, these small decisions will stack on top of each other until one day you'll look back on your life and realize your life has changed simply because you stopped waiting, you stopped wasting time, and you started taking action. If this video helped you rethink the way you approach decisions, then do me a favor. Hit the like button so more people can see this message and discover the channel. Please subscribe if you want more videos about discipline and philosophy, or please tell me in the comments below what you'd like to see in future videos. That's my rant, and thanks for watching.